Okay, there's my face right there. I apologize for that. Yeah, as I was saying, but yeah, they lost. The Titans obviously lost out on it because they gave after 1 year. They're like, yeah, with the injuries and Julio Jones getting up there in age, they decided to move on from him. So that's a loss right there. They don't really have like a real deal quarterback. I mean, take a look at the roster they had last season. If only they had a true star quarterback last year, they could have made a run at it last year. If only they had a better quarterback. I mean, Ryan Tannehill's a solid quarterback. He's a nice fantasy QB, but they truly had like one of those guys, like a Patrick Mahomes or a Tom Brady or even Aaron Rodgers or one of those guys, they could have won it all. But yeah, I feel like, but yeah, obviously this is the Falcon or not the Titans letting go Julio Jones is the indication that they gave up on that big contract. That is their way of saying, yeah, this contract didn't work out. What else? What else? What are some other big moves? Yeah, Juju Smith-Schuster signed a 1-year deal with the Kansas City Chiefs, so it's $10.75 million with incentives, and all this I'm reading from NFL.com. Juju, that's an odd one right there. Juju Smith-Schuster to Kansas City. Juju Smith-Schuster to Kansas City. It's just, I don't know about that one right there. Juju Smith-Schuster. I mean, it's an odd one because Juju, we know, he's more of a TikTok guy, and he's becoming more known for his off-the-field antics than he is for actually being a good wide receiver. And I guess they're thinking with Patrick Mahomes, it'll help. Juju will be in a better situation with Mahomes throwing him the ball, and that might be the case, but I still get a feeling some of his antics are going to cross over into that Kansas City Chiefs locker room, and that could backfire against them. So, yeah, that doesn't sound too good right there. I don't know. That's just a weird one. I was shocked to hear Juju to Kansas City. I mean, obviously they want to add something else besides Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce, but Juju, I'm surprised they didn't. I mean, they try to go for Tavares Landry. Now if they would have gone for Tavares Landry, I thought that would have made perfect sense as a number 2 option, especially for a team that's still in contention. For them to then bring in a Tavares Landry, that would have made a lot more sense than Juju Smith-Schuster. So I thought that was odd. They went with Juju Smith-Schuster. I mean, what else? And we know the Raiders have tried to sign a few defensive tackles, a few defensive backs, and a linebacker. So they're obviously trying to upgrade on their defense. Oh, and speaking of the Raiders, we all know they pulled off the big move late last week, the trade with the Green Bay Packers. The Raiders and Packers. The Packers sent Devontae Adams to the Raiders, and the Packers got an exchange, an extra first-round draft pick this year, an extra second this year. I mean, that's a big one right there. I mean, you're talking Devontae Adams, who was Aaron Rodgers' main receiver for the Green Bay Packers. Now he's going to the Raiders, a team who already made the playoffs last year, and they get a significant upgrade at wide receiver. I mean, this is good. That's a big one right there. And that was right after the Packers convinced Aaron Rodgers to re-sign. Then they go and pull that. I mean, the Packers, that's a big L right there for them. I don't know what they were thinking right there. I mean, what were the Green Bay Packers thinking? I'm trying to figure it out and ask myself, okay, what were the Green Bay Packers trying to get at there? Why did they want to give up? What were they trying to get in return? I mean, they're trying to get an extra first round, extra second round pick, but what do they plan on doing with them? And what's their big plan with those draft picks? I mean, obvious, it just was one of those things. You just wonder, like, what were they thinking? Oh my good, I don't get it. But obviously for the Raiders now, this is a big upgrade now in their offense and already stacked AFC West. I mean, we already talked about the Broncos, got Russell Wilson, Chargers trade to get Khalil Mack. I mean, they already got Justin Herbert. Raiders already had a solid team that was fresh off a playoff run. Got Kansas City Chiefs are still contenders. I mean, now all of a sudden that whole division stacked in. Actually, I mean, all these guys being added, like Devontae Adams to the Raiders, Russell Wilson to the Broncos, and Khalil Mack to the Chargers. And speaking of that, the Chargers also snagged J.C. Jackson on a 5-year deal. That's a big one right there, too. I mean, that division is going to be loaded. Loaded. I mean, I think the real undoing for the teams in the AFC West in this case is obviously injuries. I mean, injuries are usually a big undoing for any team, but especially this year for the teams in the AFC West, that is going to be that can be a big undoing for whoever gets hit by the injury bug the most. I think that's going to be one of the deciding factors, really, in terms of who falls off and who doesn't live up to expectations, specifically in that division. I mean, because that division's loaded now. I mean, A.C. Jackson to the Chargers, Devontae Adams to the Raiders. I mean, it is loaded in the AFC West. That's going to be an interesting division for sure. I mean, and let's see. What else is noticeable right here? Giants are taking more L's. I mean, what did they get? Matt Breida on a 1-year deal. Tyrod Taylor on a 2-year deal. I mean, Tyrod Taylor has been played decent at times, but we know he's for lack of a better term, made of glass. I mean, he always gets injured everywhere he goes. It's always something with Tyrod Taylor, and you're bringing him to back up Danny Jones. Oh, Giants. You're going to give us Eagles fans something. You always give us something to laugh at. The Philadelphia Eagles, I talked about this yesterday when I appeared on MK Headlines a little bit. It's been a disappointing free agency. And one person I wasn't brought up yesterday was they got that 1-year contract with defensive back Untitled Chapter. Now, he's a solid special teams guy. He gets in some good plays on special teams. However, in terms of him actually covering guys, which is his part of his position as defensive back, he hasn't done anything to impress me. He's more impressive as a special teams guy. He's getting down, helping down the ball, which is good, but they're going to need more than that. I mean, the biggest move the Eagles made was the Hassan Reddick signing, which was last week, and they agreed to a 1-year deal with former Colts receiver Zach Pascal, who, as Nick Sirianni said, had a dog mentality. But then again, what was really Zach Pascal the best guy the Eagles could have signed? I feel like at times Howie Roseman. Thing is with Howie Roseman, he's such a cheapskate at times, I feel like he tries to go for the cheapest guys possible. Now, obviously, he does a good job with the salary cap. That's one of the main reasons they've kept him around. They gave him a 3-year extension. I mean, yeah, but when it comes to like some of the moves he's made, I feel like he always tries to take the cheapest option on the market. I feel like Zach Pascal was an example of this. I'm surprised he didn't go for Tavares Landry. He's really looking to help the Eagles upgrade at wide receiver because they need help at wide receiver. The Eagles certainly need help at wide receiver because what do you got? You got Devontae Smith. Okay, had a nice rookie season. You got Dallas Goedert at tight end, the better tight end in the NFL. And then what else do you got? Jalen Reagor? J.J. Arcega-Whiteside? I mean, Quez Watkins showed a decent option, but that ties into Quez Watkins, the signing of Zach Pascal. Now, Zach Pascal, he's a slot receiver, so he'll take away playing time from Quez Watkins, who showed that when active, he can produce, though. And I was thinking with Quez Watkins still on the roster, what the Eagles should do is try to get him more involved in the game and see how well he does with his performance with more play time, more responsibility. That's what I was thinking they should do with Watkins, but it doesn't look like they're going there. Stay hydrated. But, yeah, I mean, Zach Pascal, for the Eagles, it's definitely better than most of the guys they got. It's definitely an upgrade over Jalen Reagor and J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. So I'll give them that. They got an upgrade at wide receiver, but is this really the best they could do? Especially when you got Tavares Landry still in the market. I mean, yeah, that's one of those decisions right there that kind of has me pulling my head, grabbing my head, if you will. I mean, what else? So, what are some of the other major moves that have gone on this past week? Obviously, like I talked about, obviously the sign. What else do we got? Oh, Zadarius Smith agreed to a 3-year deal with the Vikings. So the Vikings are shaping up their linebacker core a little bit. They got Jordan Hicks on a 2-year deal. Now Zadarius Smith. The Vikings look like they're trying to reshape their defense. Oh, yeah. Speaking of trade and moves, I forgot to mention the Falcons' big plan as of now for Matt Ryan is Marcus Mariota. Duh, is that really the best the Falcons are going to get with the lack of wide receivers they have? All they got is their tight end Kyle Pitts. Is that really what they're going to do? They're really going to go there. They're really going to go with Marcus Mariota. I mean, he's played solid at times in the pro, but with his injury history, and he's never really been that great of a quarterback, even when he's healthy. He's healthy, he's played solid, but he's not that great. I mean, Marcus Mariota, after trading Matt Ryan, that's their big splash right now. I mean, maybe they're thinking about drafting a quarterback and bringing in Mariota as a backup in the mentor role. And I get what they're going right there. But even then, they're screwed over. That's not going to work out that well for them. Because for the Falcons, they traded away their best franchise player on Monday to the Colts. All they got in the passing game is Kyle Pitts. That's all they got. Kyle Pitts. And now they're bringing, I'm thinking maybe they're bringing Marcus Mariota maybe to draft the quarterback, possibly. It's like, that's their big answer after trading away Matt Ryan, Marcus Mariota. Like, is it really the best? A guy who struggled with injuries throughout his career, who's been a solid player at best. It doesn't really seem like it's that good. An interesting one. You got Xavier Woods. He signed a 3-year deal with the Panthers. And the Panthers they have re-signed Dante Jackson as well. So they have re-signed some of those guys right there. But the Panthers, obviously, they still need a quarterback. They lost down to the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes. But I'm definitely thinking they're going to have to be looking for QB in the draft, which I'll talk more about the draft after free agency. Right now, I'm here to talk about free agency, so I'm going to mainly stick with that. But they re-signed DJ Moore, who's their best option at receiver. No questions asked. And apparently, Jameis Winston has re-signed a 2-year deal with the Saints. I mean, I guess the Saints not getting Deshaun Watson, they tried to re-sign Winston. I mean, who was playing solid, was playing his best season, looked like he was on par for his best season before he destroyed his knee, but now he's coming off a knee major injury. If in fact Winston does start, he's coming back off a major injury. And you're talking about a guy who's not only come off a major injury, but a guy who has to put it nicely, underperformed throughout his career, to put it nicely. So they're bringing him back. I mean, sure, I get that Winston, he was playing good for the Saints when he was healthy. He looked like he was on par to finally living up to his potential as a first-round pick or as the number 1 draft pick. It looked like he was finally living up to his potential, but then he tears out his knee, and now what's next? But now how's he going to come back from that, though? I mean, and the Saints re-signed him. They signed defensive end and signed a safety. So they made some moves. But, I mean, considering the Saints they still made it to 9 wins with all the injuries they had. I mean, they had a solid season. But now the Saints are in a situation, they got a new coach. There's going to be a new system coming into play. We don't know how that new system is going to translate over. So, Saints, I feel like, have lost out. They didn't do anything significant. I feel like my team, the Eagles, have lost out because what did they really do beside bringing Hassan Reddick? And also, we got Allen Robinson signed with the Rams on a 3-year deal. I mean, the Rams are fresh off a Super Bowl win. They, signed, made an extension with Matthew Stafford. And they could possibly be bringing back OBJ. Maybe, maybe not. But apparently, Allen Robinson made the decision. He signed with the Rams. I mean, obviously, if you're Allen Robinson and you want to actually go to a winning team, congratulations. You made the right choice there at the Rams. And for the Rams, hey, if they still have the opportunity to compete and they still want to compete for a championship while they can, then by all means, go for it. So that's a good move for the Rams right there, getting Allen Robinson. Oh, yeah, just something else I wanted to say earlier when I was talking about the Eagles. I was also disappointed that looks like they haven't gone for Tyrann Mathieu. That disappointed me too. I mean, also, we got, 49ers haven't done anything major that I've seen. They got Hassan Ridgeway from the Eagles. I recognize that name as an Eagles fan. Travarius Ward, defensive back. And they made a couple moves right there. I mean, but yeah, obviously this week there have been some more moves going on this week. Obviously, some of the names that weren't signed last week, they got signed this week. And there's still some guys that are signed. Where's OBJ going to go? Is he going to return? Is he going to get signed elsewhere? What's going to happen there? I mean, most of the quarterback ones, pretty much all the main quarterbacks that were free agents have re-signed with their main team, have either re-signed or been traded or signed elsewhere. So most of the quarterbacks have been taken care of right now. I mean, but definitely right now, so far, some of the winners and losers as of today, Wednesday, week 2 of free agency. Excuse me, go on 1 second. But as of right now, most of the free agents right now. So what's the winners so far? You got the Raiders have been winners. They've been trying to they're trying to retool their roster. I mean, they brought in Devontae Adams. They pulled off the trade to get a big name wide receiver to help add a spark to the offense. 1 year removed from a playoff run. That's a win right there. I feel like the Cleveland Browns can be potential winners as long as Deshaun Watson lives up to his potential. I mean, if he does come back and he's still able to play at that level, this could be a win for them. But then again, there's the questions about whether or not he's going to return, whether he's going to return to elite form. And even then, you got to wonder, how are the Browns going to handle all the pressure of Deshaun Watson being there? Because there's still going to be that pressure from people in the media, specifically from women's groups. They're going to put pressure on the Browns and shame them for bringing in Deshaun Watson. That's going to linger on them as an organization. Even though he didn't get any charges put on him, he wasn't convicted on any charges. Even though he wasn't, Deshaun, and there's still going to be people that are going to look at that and still look at the Browns sideways in spite of that. I feel like, actually, the more I think about it, I kind of not sure. I can't really say right now if the Browns are winners and losers. We'll have to see how the whole thing plays out. But I feel like they could either be big winners from this and get right back into the mix of being contenders again, or they could end up being losers and this could backfire. Because if they don't handle the pressure that comes with bringing in a guy like Deshaun Watson, if Deshaun Watson shows rust from his 1 year away from the league, this could backfire on them. So there's that possibility right there. So I kind of think the Browns, not sure if they're winners or losers yet. I feel like the Jaguars are winners because they're building up a better team around them. I mean, they have the potential to possibly at least get better, maybe make it to a 6 or 7 win season, which, considering where they've been the past couple of years, that alone is progress. So I feel like the Jaguars are winners from this because now they have some potential to get better. Like I said, I think the Broncos, they're still winners for that Russell Wilson doom. I think the Colts won out on that Matt Ryan trade because now they're kind of in win now mode, and they're getting Matt Ryan, who still has something left in the tank, who can still do something, who got a spark to that offense they haven't had in years. They already have a solid offense around them. They have Jonathan Taylor at running back, so that takes some of the workload off of Matt Ryan. Right there, they have solid receiving core. So that helps right there. They have a solid defense. They could win from this thing. This is the best quarterback they've had since Luck retired. Even though it's Matt Ryan near the end of his career, though. So I feel that's a win right there. So yeah, right now, as of today, that being Wednesday, being Wednesday, March 23rd. I feel like all around the winners right now as of today throughout free agency if we go back to the beginning of the month to today are the Denver Broncos, Cincinnati Bengals for re-signing most of their key pieces, Jaguars, the Raiders. I feel like even the Patriots won out for re-signing some guys. I feel like the Bills definitely are winners for that move, especially getting Von Miller on the team to give the defense a boost. Definitely winners right there. Now, some of the losers thus far feel like the New Orleans Saints because they haven't done much. They're in rebuild mode and they're not really making money moves. Feel like they took a loss right there. The Falcons for trading away the best player in franchise history and leaving themselves with nothing. I mean, Matt Ryan was the guy who, in the last 4 seasons, 3 of the last 4 years, they finished with 7 wins. And Matt Ryan was the guy who was pretty much carrying them to being a halfway decent team over these past 4 years. If you take away Matt Ryan, that team would have been trash. If they didn't have Matt Ryan at QB, that team would have been trash. So that's a loss for them right there. Definitely other losers right now, the Giants, because they're a team in desperate rebuild. They desperately needed help for years, and they still didn't do anything significant. They couldn't pull off any big moves. That's an L right there. Feel Washington takes the L for making that trade for Carson Wentz, who is 5 years removed from his MVP type caliber season he was having before his injury. Right, so they're getting Carson Wentz 5 years removed from his MVP caliber season, or he's fallen off since, making a trade for him instead of trying to draft the quarterback. That's an L for them right there. Other teams that have taken L's, I mean, who else? So what else? So there's an L right there. So like obviously the Texans have taken an L because they weren't able to pull off any big moves. And they re-signed a lot of guys they already have, but with all due respect to that roster they really have. Also, the Titans are losers too. I mean, they did get Robert Woods in a trade with the Rams, but that's really the biggest splash they've made. I mean, they lost Julio Jones. They gave up on Julio Jones, which signifies that trade was an L. I mean, well, now that I think about it, no, I'm not going to say the Titans are losers. Nah, what am I thinking? No. Who else? But yeah, so far, I mean, this whole free agency, it's been an interesting free agency, though, definitely. I mean, it's changing the NFL climate over there. Just all these different trades with quarterbacks, all these players signing with new teams. I mean, there's still some more moves to make. Tyrann Mathieu. And then you also got, what's his name? Who's it? OBJ, of course. I mean, obviously, those guys can still get signed. So you still got guys on the market. You've had a lot of names. You've either gotten traded or signed with new teams. So this is basically really a climate-changing NFL free agency, especially with all the quarterback moves. Because now you're taking quarterback, the most important position in football, the one key position of leadership that's of most importance. They're taking that position. We got all these different teams now get new quarterbacks. They're trying to get other quarterbacks. So that's definitely going to cause big changes in how the teams play on the field, what their win-loss record is. So this is definitely a climate-changing free agency. So, I mean, all this going on free agency, it's definitely going to be interesting to see how it all pans out. It's going to be interesting to see how the Colts do. It's going to be interesting to see how the Browns look with Deshaun Watson, how they deal with a lot of the negative PR they're going to get from it, because, they're going to get that negative PR. It's just going to see how they deal with that and to see, is Deshaun Watson going to come back, even though he hasn't played in a year, and still be Deshaun Watson? I mean, you also got, what's going to happen with Russell Wilson now and the Broncos uniform? How's that loaded division going to pan out? I mean, it was a competitive division last year, and this year it's a loaded AFC West. So that's going to be interesting to see right there. And then, of course, Of course, you got that, and you got Howard. You got the pay Bills are upgrading on defense. How's Von Miller going to actually play a role in that Bills defense? How's that going to help them? Are they going to take that next step and actually become contenders? Are the Bengals going to return and still be contenders? All these moves though in free agency, it's going to definitely leaves opportunities for some of these teams to take that were kind of mediocre, like the Broncos and Colts, to take that next level and possibly become contenders. You're talking about a team like the Chargers could possibly become contenders. Talk about the Raiders could possibly step. There's so many different things that could happen right here with all these moves that are going on in free agency. We haven't even gotten finished with free agency. There's still some big names to be acquired too. Not to mention the Rams, they make up for that trade, having to trade Robert Woods, and the possibility that OBJ goes to another team by assigning Allen Robinson. There's a lot going on. Even the Jaguars made some moves, which could help upgrade their offense. There's a lot going on right here in free agency that could completely change the way the league looked last year versus the way it's going to look this upcoming season in terms of who the top teams are, team records. It's going to cause a drastic shift. Just through midway through the second week of free agency, we're already predicting that's what's going to happen this season. We haven't even gotten to the finish of free agency, not to mention how's the draft going to affect everything. But what I'm saying, the point I want to get to is this free agency with all these moves that's going on, it's huge because it's going to cause drastic changes to team records, to who the top teams are, going into the 2022 season. So, yeah, this is definitely what I consider a climate-changing free agency for the NFL. But I'm going to be curious to see how this plays out right there. So I'm probably going to end it right about now. So to everyone that tuned into the stream, thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed it. I had fun doing this, and we keep an eye out to see what's going on in free agency with some of these other teams. Then once we get past free agency, I'll start doing some more mock drafts, looking into that a little bit. But yeah, that's all I really got to say. Nicky Steve signing off. Have a wonderful day or night. And if you didn't see it live, even if you've seen it on the replay, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. All right, and that's all I got to say. Nicky Steve signing off, and I'll see you next time.